Nate, how much emphasis will you put on during preseason playing Myles and Domas together, and what kinds of things are you looking for from the two of them?
But we're going to start off that way. Those are Myles. Our starting or the first five that I will put on the floor will be Malcolm, Jeremy, T.J. Warren, Domas, and Myles Turner.
What are you looking for from them in terms of their ability?
Well, we had an opportunity last year to play those guys about 10, 15 minutes together, and I thought they did a good job of adapting to what opponents were trying to do as far as matchups. Some nights we would see the 5 on Myles. Some nights we would see the 5 on Domas. They were able to adapt to that, during the course of a game. This year, starting those two, I feel we are going to be able to play those two because they can adapt. But what I'm hoping is that our rebounding will be much better. With both bigs being out on the floor. Sometimes we'll change the matchup. From game to game, who is guarding the 4. But Domas will be starting at the 4. Myles will be starting at the 5 for the most part. We're going to try to keep Myles at that basket, defending the basket, and Domas, will be working to defend possibly smaller 4s that are spreading the floor, able to put the ball on the floor.
Coach, generally speaking, starting a new season, you're always excited about something. Mm-hmm. What is it that you're most excited about to get this season started?
Well, I think this is, for us is a year of proving it. I think we've brought in 7 new free agents, and we all have something to prove. This season, and for me, the last 3 years, we've had, decent seasons, and we've been able to get to the playoffs. But it's been first round and out, and the first year was we were a little young, and we get swept by Cleveland. The second year, we lose 4-3, so we got close. And last season, we're missing Victor, and we go into the playoffs and we get swept. So, I think it's just a year for us to prove ourselves. I think the organization has done a good job of picking up free agents. With the number of free agents that we had going into the off season, it was going to be a challenge to bring this roster back. There were some things that we felt we wanted to do, which was we wanted to try to bring Bogey back and a couple of our guys back this season, but that didn't happen, and they were able to go out and really make up for the loss as far as the guys that we lost. Malcolm, I think, is a key pickup. You get a starting guard that is, pretty much going into his prime. He's not in his prime. He's going into his prime, which is really good. A lot of these guys are on the same timeline. You were able to pick up Jeremy Lamb, who, again, is going into his prime. At that 2 position that can, play that position until Victor is back. T.J. Warren is another guy that's going into his prime. Our 2 bigs, Domas and Myles, young players that we know have potential. They'll have that opportunity to play together. So all of those guys I just mentioned has something to prove, and we as a team, that's the approach we're taking.
Nate, how important is the success of the Turner-Sabonis tandem to the season, and what does each one of them have to be able to do to make it work?
Well, I think they know what they need to bring, and one of the big things is defensively being able to defend and really coexist together. Understanding that we've added offensive players, to the roster, and chemistry, sacrificing, all of that stuff is going to be really important. And all of it looks good on paper, but until they get out and do that, we'll have to wait and see. I think this can work with the players that we've brought in, but it's going to take each guy playing for the next guy and trusting that. We're going to have one common goal, and that's to win, and doing whatever it takes to win games. So we have to get into the season and see how these guys, they build that chemistry. It starts with tomorrow, that first day of practice, starting to work on that chemistry.
Hi, Nate. I got two, so don't take this from me too soon. One about the two bigs. Was that just a no-brainer, or were there other options? How hard a choice was that? Because it kind of goes against the grain, obviously, of what y'all have done before.
Yeah, well, the part of it was, when we got Domantas in the trade with Victor, he was starting, and he was playing some 4 and 5, and he came in, and because we had a 5 in Myles starting, he has come off the bench the last 2 seasons. He has done a really good job of basically leading that second unit, and the last season you're trying to find ways for him to get more minutes, and he feels he's a starter. He feels that he's a starter. He wants to become a starter. He expressed that to us, and we had to make room for him to do that. We felt that he was part of the future of this organization, and we had a starting center in Myles, and Thaddeus did a great job for us, and we had to make room for him. And making room for him was basically, losing Thad to allow him to move into that starting position. And we felt that he's part of the future as far as moving forward.
And then the other one, Malcolm as your one, really. And he's played combo. I know he can do that, but how much trepidation was there with that, or is he just naturally the one and it was simple as that?
He's going to be the one. The way all of that unfolded on July 1st was really a surprise to me, because we had some other things that we thought was going to happen, and when they fell through, Malcolm was a guy that kind of came on a radar screen, and we saw the opportunity to get him, and they went out and did it, and immediately, once you make that decision, you have to make a decision on what is he going to be for you. And we have a 2 in Victor. He's going to be our starting point guard, and I think I love his leadership. We've had many conversations here over the summer just about the team and the direction and what we're going to be looking for. He chose us. I've had a few players that wanted to play for me, but this guy really said that he had been eyeballing us since coming out of the draft. He loved the way we play, our style of play, our focus on the defensive end of the floor, the toughness that we play with. and he expressed wanting to play here, and I think he's a throwback in the sense of how he plays the game, how he thinks the game at that point guard position. He understands that position and how it should be played. The extension of that point guard and the connection that the point guard and the coach has or should have, we already feel that with him. That you can not sit back, but you can allow this guy to run the team.
Nate, you and Kevin have both spoken pretty highly of Goga. Tell me a little bit more about what you specifically like in his game.
Really, I mean, he has a great feel for the game, both offensively and defensively. He's a two-way. I feel he's going to be a really good two-way player, very high skill level. His ability to score, shoot the ball, post up, pass the ball, dribble the ball, his feel for the game. He has all of that at a very young, 19, 20 years old. He just has a beautiful body. You're looking at, we're sitting there looking at this kid and just comparing him to the rookies that are coming in out of college, and we're saying, you look at him and his body, and you think about in the next couple of years what he can become. The future is really bright for Goga as well as the Pacers.
Coach McMillan, this is Showtime Arnett. 2 questions. First of all, how was your summer?
It was good. It felt long, and I was telling someone, it was going really slow in May and June, and then I seemed like I blinked, and here we are in training camp. The draft and free agency and summer league, and it was like boom, boom, boom. One thing after another. But it was a good summer.
Right. And my next question, as a coach coming into this year, what are some things that you think that you can do differently that you didn't do in the first seasons as a coach here with the Pacers?
Well, I think every team is different. Every team is different. Coming into this season, we're excited, and as I said to some people, basically we're saying the same thing the other 29 teams are saying. They better be saying they're excited about their offseason and what they've brought in. But we are excited about this group that we have, and getting this group together as a whole, and going into the future, because again, the timeline with this group is not really just about this season, but for the next couple years, this group will be together. We signed Malcolm. We have T.J. Warren for a couple years. We have Lamb for a couple years. Victor, Myles signed an extension. So this team will have an opportunity for the next few years to grow, and we are excited about really the future, of this group. So how are we going to be different? They will determine that with their play out on the floor. We try to look at players, not only their talent but their character, and if they're able to fit into our culture. And we feel like we've added that to our roster. Pros, guys that are going to come in. Not that my group the last 2 years haven't come in and worked, but we feel these guys are they're about to go into their prime. It's going to be a good group to work with for the next couple of years.
Nate, what do you expect Victor's on-court activity to be here during training camp?
I've gotten some of that, but I'll get really all of that tonight. He was just over there shooting, and he's back to himself in the gym. 8 o'clock, music blasting, singing and shooting and, all kinds of things. So he will not do anything live, I know, for a while. Will he be able to go through the first part of practice is something that they will let me know tonight before we go in. He may be able to warm up with the team, do some shooting, some drills, but I know he won't be doing anything live for a while.
Nate, look, getting back to the two bigs playing together, are there some teams that you looked at that you're sort of modeling, that or teams that you looked at and said, this is how they play their two bigs together, these are some things that maybe we can take from that?
Well, again, Bob, I think every team is different, and I kind of looked a couple years ago when San Antonio was one of the but one of the teams years ago that got credit for going small, and then all of a sudden, Coach Pop, he put two towers out there, and he goes big, and I think you have to adapt to the roster that you have, and you can't be Golden State. You can't be like some of these other teams. You try to make sure that you get the best talent to fill your roster and be able to compete. But sometimes, in our case, we wanted to keep Domantas and Myles, and this is kind of what we fell into. Now, I think the game will go back towards two bigs being out on the floor. You look at what Philadelphia has done. You look at what Detroit has done with Griffin there. So there are some teams that you look at. Denver is a really good team that has two bigs. Everybody is not playing the spread basketball that has been adopted here in the last 10 years. And I think as soon as a couple of these guys pass on, some of these unbelievable spread fours, I think you're going to see the game turn back to being a power forward and a center. But, there are teams that are playing with two bigs now, and we really feel like we can play big or play small. I think Warren can slide and play some four if we have to play a smaller forward against a spread team. But just as teams will try to take advantage of our size, we will try to take advantage of our size and, try to pound some teams that are trying to play small.
I got to hurry up. Benner's told me I better make it quick, Nate. Going back to Vic, is there a timetable you guys would like to get them back in the regular season, or are you guys playing everything by ear?
No, there hasn't been a timetable given to me, and I haven't heard that. And I've talked with our trainer, with Victor, and with Kevin. Basically, I know that he will not start the season. I haven't had any information given to me that he will be practicing live with the team anytime soon. So I don't anticipate Victor being available for a while, and I don't really know what a while is. So no, there's no timetable. I'm happy that he's here at training camp. He will be in practice tomorrow, getting ready with his team.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For highlights and analysis, check out the ESPN app. And for live streaming and premium content, check out ESPN+.